Hi, it's cut down day at USA Basketball for the young guys, the university players. Greg Wrubell, Dave Noriega here at Colorado Springs. What were your impressions? This is the first time we actually had to see these guys. What were the first things that kind of came to your mind as you saw these guys competing?
Well, my first national team tryout experience is here in Colorado Springs, and in talking with Tyler Haws this morning, the obvious standout is that when you get into this setting, everyone you're playing against is one of the best guys on his team, and clearly one of the best collegiate players in the country. You cannot let your foot off the pedal for a minute. You take a possession off, and he says you can look bad. You've got to do what you know how to do and do well. You start going outside what you know, and he said that's when bad things happen. Yeah.
And you're talking about top flight coaches as well. So you do one little thing wrong, and they're not afraid to call you out and jump on you, really in a heartbeat.
Interesting that these coaches here, John Beilein was not here on Thursday as he was with some of his players at the NBA draft in New York, but Coach Bob McKillop of Davidson, head coach, and Coach Frank Martin of South Carolina, the assistant coach, they described themselves as system coaches, and Tyler Haws, they said, is a system guy. That plays in Tyler's favor to this point. You make the point that these guys are all trying to learn the new system, and sometimes the more natural or purer athletes jump up and can compensate for any maybe lack of knowledge. But Tyler Haws, when it comes to the system, it's like Coach Martin said, Coach McKillop plays up tempo. I play fast. We want to play fast, and that's how Tyler plays in college. And so it's a natural thing for Ty with his conditioning, the fact that he lives at altitude, plays at altitude. He's not necessarily struggling against maybe some of the things a few of the players have dealt with this week with being at this unfamiliar environment. So I think for Ty that feels natural, but we just haven't necessarily seen as much up and down as we might see, say, in Friday's scrimmage or should Ty make it to the weekend in Saturday's intra-squad scrimmage for the public here. So hopefully we'll see a little more up and down and see that fast tempo and system in play.
I get the impression that these coaches are so interested in seeing how coachable these guys are and how quickly they learn. They're throwing so many concepts at them, so many different elements of basketball to see how quickly they pull it up, because they don't have long to come together. And I got the impression that this is a really high level of importance for these guys to say, how quickly can these guys learn?
It goes for a lot of these guys, but in reference to Tyler in particular, the word coachability came up. And beyond that, Coach McKillop talked about Tyler wanting to be part of a team. That this is why he wants to be involved, because he said, and as Tyler told us, I want to do the little things that make a team good, that make a team succeed. And again, you can take, you can find 5 to 10 tremendous athletes in this group. Can you find that player 11 or player 12 that will be more than just the quote-unquote glue guy, but a player that does the little things that make a team good? And I think Tyler does a lot of those things from a lot of different areas. How many guys can you put out there that you can feel comfortable at the hoop, at the free throw line, at the mid-range, and at deep and at international three-point length, and feel you got one guy to fill all those roles? I think that's Tyler Haws.
And we actually saw Coach McKillop tell Ty, be aggressive, be the shooter. He tried to force a little pass, and he's like, go up, look at the basket. Don't try to force that, because these coaches understand that Tyler is one of the great shooters on this court.
He's a scorer.
He is a scorer, and there's no sense in being something that you're not. It's kind of the same thing that we saw with Jim or with Sacramento. He tried to be a facilitator early on, but guess what? Scorer, and that's definitely what Tyler is.
This is a really strong group of scorers at the wing. I'm curious to see exactly, what the final numbers will look like. The way I look at it, if you look at Rodney Hood, who's been banged up as a small forward, that gives you 7 small forward / shooting guards for maybe 6 spots at the wing. It could be an odd man out in that group, and it's a strong group. Just going alphabetically, and again, talking about wings, if you will: Spencer Dinwiddie of Colorado, Trevion Graham of Virginia, of VCU, Jerry and Grant of Notre Dame, Luke Hancock of Louisville, the most outstanding player in the Final Four. You got Tyler, Sean Kilpatrick of Cincy, Will Sheehy of Indiana. That's a really strong group of wings, and it may be all of them go. It could be that one is left out, and that's a battle really to see, and a tough decision to see which of those guys could you possibly leave home. Tough decisions, and it will all come down to Friday night. Coach McKillop said a Friday morning practice, a Friday afternoon scrimmage, then we're getting to 12. The number will go from 16 or 15, depending on Rodney Hood's status, down to 12. That group will stay through the weekend and then get on a plane Monday and head off to Russia.
We are here until Tyler is no longer. So if he goes to Russia,
The longer he stays, the longer we stay. Yeah.
exactly. So we'll be here all week. We'll keep the coverage. Keep coming to KSL.com, and we'll have sound from Tyler, sound from coaches, and make sure you have all your coverage that you want.